Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us tmosso@the1916company.com. It is in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any of our watches. Email tmosso@the1916company.com for pricing. Today we are discussing the latest Tudor Black Bay, all renewed for 2023. You could say that this is the most refined version of the watch that has formed the backbone of the Tudor comeback since the model line debuted in 2012. The Black Bay is many things, but today we are talking about the core 41mm steel dive watch. So if you want a super granular comparison to the 2022 model, check out my dedicated comparison video. Today, we're going to talk about some of the changes, but we're going to discuss the watch on its own merits. And I will try to chart the changes, but again, the comparison is your authoritative guide. So, still 41 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel, 13.6 millimeters thickened from lug tip to lug tip, 49.2 millimeters. It has a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, there have been some changes here since it's 1.3 millimeters thinner than the 2022 watch, and from lug tip to lug tip, it is also 0.7 of a millimeter narrower lug to lug across the wrist. Also, the previous 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs is now this 21 millimeter spacing. So those are some of the dimensional changes that relate to how the watch sits and fits. My wrist, as ever, 16 centimeters circumference. I cannot sense the shorter lug-to-lug dimension. I can see, even visibly, that it is a thinner watch, which makes it more suitable for a dress cuff, all the more so since in 2023, Tudor began offering this dress-style 5-link bracelet. So a couple of things have changed: thickness and a new bracelet option, making this a more versatile watch than before. It's still a sports watch, but if you want to dress it up, it has another gear to provide for that type of attire. And I would recommend this watch for a wrist of 14 centimeters circumference and up. One last shot down the barrel. It kind of gave away the game. The bracelet is a new offering on the Black Bay as of 2023. We have a conforming end link. We have a little bit of a taper from the end link down towards the clasp. You can see that we have removable links fixed by screws, and actually quite a few of them. So if you want to fine-tune the fit, you have the ability to do so. Outer faces of the links are polished. You can see we have staggered alignment for the polished intermediates, and the primary links on their shoulders are satinated. Now we have a new clasp. It's different in both design and dimensions, so it's thinner than before. You can see it features this straight through polished profile, a thick gauge stainless steel internal. We have a different shaped clasp here. The clasp featuring a new clamshell lock, but internally we give up the 3 pairs of drilled divots and we gain the Tudor T-fit system. You can see that there are a couple of different preset stops, but you have incremental adjustment over a range of 8 millimeters, which gives you a lot more flexibility if you want to extend it all the way out for use over some sort of a diving suit. You could do that. You can also use it for fine-tuning fit. If you just want to move it in or out 1 notch, very easy to do so. So fine for diving if you want to size it over a suit, but also for incremental changes. Now you can see we have a combination of inner and outer spring-loaded ceramic pin snaps, the idea being here that the steel can never aggress against the ceramic and wear it down, so the snappy tolerances will remain snappy over time. Rolling around the case, there have been some changes here. The crown changes. You can see we now have a raised and relieved and non-lacquered Tudor Rose logo. The crown itself has a different width, a different diameter, a different knurling pattern, and you'll notice it no longer has a colored stem tube, so changes there. The lug bevels, which have always been a nostalgic nod to the Tudors of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, they're a little bit different in profile, just a little bit finer in the way they've been executed. So a little bit of a change almost everywhere you look. We have a different knurling pattern on the bezel. Supposedly, there's a different shade to the anodized aluminum insert. If you can see this, even alongside the 2022, again, check my comparison, you're a better man than I. What is more obvious is that a new font is used for printing the numerals on the bezel, so that has changed. Also, subtly, and you really have to measure it to know the difference, the span of the crystal and the size of the dial, these two features have been reduced in diameter. The dial print has been subtly revised against something I can't really see, although the specific choices of text, we now have a 2-line emphasizing Master Chronometer. That's a lot easier to see. We also have a different shaped seconds hand. We no longer have the diamond-style Tudor snowflake reference luminescent pip. We have a circular one, and we now have a symmetrical circular bob-style counterweight, but we still have the snowflake-style hour hand right here. There's also, if you look very closely, there is a metallic sunburst brushed radial pattern to the dial that is new compared to the old matte black finish, so changes there as well. A lot of things have changed in detail, and so a lot of work went into reprofiling almost every single part of the watch. Some of it's too subtle to see, but all of it is real. By the way, I apologize. Did I say thinner bezels? These are now broader bezels than in the past. What I can also say here is that it is a substantially upgraded caliber MT5602. This is now the MT5602U. It is a master chronometer, so it goes through the same Métas test as the vast majority of Omegas. So if you've ever thought that was some sort of proprietary Omega standard, no, it's not. It's an open standard created by Omega with the Swiss Federal Institute of Metrology, but any movement in any assembled watch meeting those standards can be a master chronometer. Now, it encompasses everything that the old COSC test had, but there's more. First, it's a 6-position test of a cased-up watch, not a 5-position test of a bare movement. There are things like shock resistance, durability, water resistance, winding efficiency, power reserve, chronometry. Also tests at various different levels of mainspring wind and stricter internal variations. So, for example, how much can the movement vary by over a period of 24 hours? Well, it's actually quite generous in the COSC, but remember, a COSC is -4 + 6 after 24 hours, but let's say at some point in the 24-hour test, the COSC chronometer is actually 7 seconds ahead. Well, it could still get the COSC chronometer certification. It would not get the master chronometer certification, which only allows for a timing deviation of 5 seconds within the test. So even if it comes out COSC at the end, it would be disqualified if it varied by more than 5 seconds during the tested period. So another important thing, Tudor has its own timing standard, which is -2 + 4, so that also applies here. Still 200 meters water resistant, still a screw-down crown, still hacking seconds. The movement is still a Tudor Kinesi automatic with a 70-hour power reserve, stop seconds, a 4 Hz beat rate, 25 pivot joules, an anti-magnetic silicone hairspring, and a full balance bridge and a free-sprung balance for shock tolerance. So there's a lot to love here. Really, almost too many, and too subtle a roster of changes to fully count. We still have a 60-click unidirectional rotating dive bezel. We'll do a quick loom shot so you can see the watch in the dark. The only obvious change here is the seconds hand. Some people say they can tell the difference. I can't tell the difference compared to the 2022, other than the fact that the seconds hand now has a round luminescent pip. But there are many differences. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916 Company for purchase and pricing details.